All right, so I've got this stuff laid out here for you. I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible and still give you the information. Um, so I've got both. This is how I have my charts right now in the morning. So to the right side, I'll have the 5 second chart. And that's where I'll enter the trades and draw the PD arrays and things like that, as well as the gold block times. And then on the left side, I'll have ES and NQ with the time cycles. NQ will have 90-minute, 30-minute, and 10-minute. ES will only have 30-minute and 90-minute. All executions will happen on the right side of the chart here. And let me try and find. Okay, so let's start with this. So what I'm using now are these three things. So first off, along the x-axis we have time. So what I'm using there is the gold block algo, at least one of them, which is this one right here. I'm not using macros or anything like that. I'm just using these specific algorithmic times. And they happen in a clockwise manner. So if you have a 47, then you go to 11. If you have an 11, then you go to 17. I'm only using it in one direction. So 29 will go to 47, or a 35 will go to a 47, all in a clockwise direction. So it has to go like that. Okay, it can't really, the way I'm using it, it can't go backwards. So it simplifies it. So I'm basically looking for those specific times plus or minus 1 to make a high or a low. And I'll show you that, what I mean. The next thing is the y-axis, the price axis. So for that, we're using the time cycles, the old time cycles that we all know. So the 90-minute, 30-minute, and the 10-minute cycles. It's pretty self-explanatory there. And then for entries and risk, we're using the ICT PD arrays, such as the breaker, order block, fair value gap, inversion fair value gap, and that's pretty much it. So breaker, inversion breaker, fair value gap, inversion fair value gap, order block. Those are the main things I use, mainly breakers and inversion breakers. I'm not really using order blocks because I'm on the 5 second chart when I'm looking at all this stuff. So I'll sort of get a zoomed out view and then wait for the breakers and inversion breakers to form on the 5 second chart. Like this one's a breaker. Take the high, close below, come back, retest. That's a breaker. And then, for instance, let me reset that. This would be the inversion breaker. So you have, at this time, it's a breaker right here. Once we close below, come back and retest. Once we close back through it, it becomes an inversion breaker, and you want to see it serve as support. So we close back through it, retest it, and take off. So those are the best to use. It's just they don't show up very often. Okay, so we have that. All right, so the next thing, sorry, bring this guy down. So this is the way I'm using the time cycles. So the 90 minute, the 30 minute, or the 10 minute. I have all those pulled up over here on the left. And then the profiles are purge and revert, either to the equilibrium. So for instance, here to here on the 30-minute cycle, right there, the orange is equilibrium. Okay, so purge and revert to the EQ, the equilibrium, or the extreme. So the high or the low of the previous cycle. So on a purge and revert, you're going to either look here at the equilibrium for the take profit, or you're going to go to the opposite end of the cycle. The other profile is just equilibrium. So basically, you can use equilibrium of any time cycle to take a trade, whether it be the 90 minute or the 30 minute or the 10 minute. So for example, this one here is a 10-minute cycle. Right here, the blue from high to low there is a 10-minute cycle. We open the next cycle and we use that equilibrium as resistance and then trade lower. So that's what I mean by equilibrium profile. So you would just take a short along this area of support or resistance and then trade it lower. Same with this here. This 10-minute cycle from high to low. The next one opens here, drops down below. So once we start trading below the equilibrium, you can trade it lower. And then it's the same on the larger 30-minute profiles, 30-minute cycles. So we have this blue cycle. The next cycle opens, runs lower to the equilibrium, and then trades higher. So this is similar to a continuation where we open, drop lower, retest equilibrium, and then take the high. Let's go here. So this red cycle, equilibrium's there. We purge and revert back to equilibrium. That can be your whole trade right there. So we open on this cycle, purge the low, and you can take a long. You can take a long on the breaker, back up to the equilibrium. That's a pretty easy money trade. And then continuation would be C. So above or below a cycle, you have continuation. That's the trickiest one, in my opinion. I would stick to A or B. And then if you want to trade C, go ahead and trade C. But there's plenty of just A's and B's to trade. You don't really need to even worry about C. But a C would basically be like you have this 10-minute cycle, and you have the low. So you have the low of that cycle. So then you close the cycle here, you open here at 10:10, you drop lower, and then you retest the low of the cycle and trade lower. So it just continues lower. There's no retest of the equilibrium or anything. You trade from the bottom of the cycle lower to withdraw on liquidity. But my favorite is not that. It's equilibrium and purge and revert. They're the easiest to spot. So you're basically limiting yourself to taking a trade above a cycle high or below a cycle low or at the midpoint of a cycle. Okay, so here. You would try and take a short there or a long, depending on the price action at equilibrium. Let's go to the next thing. advanced logic. So let's not get into that actually. Let's look at a couple examples. And we'll tie in both sides of the chart, and I'll show you how I do it in real time. So let's just look at this day here. So Wednesday around 10:30. Let's see if we can sync that up. Thursday, let's go to Wednesday. Okay. So here's Wednesday. You can see the cursor aligns on both charts. So the most high probability trade will be using the gold block time. So A would be have your gold block time. So I'm trying to get that in the picture so we can use it as a guide. So for this trade, it would be 35 on the short, okay? So have your time, and you want to have a high form during that window. So 34, 35, 36, that counts, okay? So that's a swing high at 35. This is the same, a swing high at 11. So you have 11, 12, 13. This is a 47. You have 46, 47, 48. You have 50, 50, 51, 52. That's a 50. So the way I look at it is, as long as one of these swing, so 1, 2, 3, as long as one of those three candles has a 50 in it, that counts as a 50. As long as one of these three candles has a 47 in it, it counts as a 47. As long as 1, 2, 3, that swing has a 35, either this candle, or this candle, it counts. Okay, so we have the 35 here at the high. And then the next thing we look at is the time cycle. Okay, so we go to the left and we see we have this 10-minute cycle, purge the high of the previous 10-minute cycle. We have this 30-minute cycle, purge the high of the previous, and then we're also above the previous 90-minute cycle. And then we also have SMT with these cycles here, the blue and the red cycle. The 30 minutes have SMT. You're at a gold block time, and then the only thing left to do is find an entry, is to find a short. So I would drop into the 5 second. I mean, I'm already on the 5 second. I just stay on the 5 second or the 15. And let me go back to Wednesday. Okay, so we have a breaker down here, and then price forms a breaker up here as well. So we have the high and the low. We sweep that high and close down below this low, and then we come back to retest. Okay, so that's an entry there at 35. 10:35:05 makes the high. We have what we want to see here with the SMT. The SMT is not necessary, but it makes a higher probability. And then we have the potential of a purge and revert, so we're above a previous cycle high. And then we get the price action that we want to have at the time we want to have it. And you just take your risk and take your trade. You could use a breaker. You could use like the 15-second chart and probably get like a fair value gap or something. You could use a fair value gap here, take the trade on that. The 1 minute doesn't really have much. I just like using the lower time frames because I can see the price action better. So I can see that breaker, and then you can also just use like this order block. You could use this fair value gap as an inversion. It just gives you more opportunities to find like a solid PD array and put risk on it. So this would be an entry here, stop would be here, 17 points. And then you take your short. You can also use something like this type of breaker, close below retest, or this inversion breaker, where you have this low swept by that low. It forms a breaker at first. This is a breaker, and then once we get down below it, it's an inversion. So we close down below here, retest, you could enter your short there, stop here, and take your short. Okay. Okay, and then some other details, some advanced details that I have written down here are, so number one, a purge and revert inside of a higher time frame PD array is higher probability. Number two, high probability sign for reversal in purge and revert is gold block time paired with time cycle SMT. So basically if you have the SMT on the time cycles and it's at a gold block time, you want to put more risk on that trade. Number three, if price closes above or below previous cycle with a fair value gap, or there's no SMT, or there's nearby liquidity, or all three, the purge and revert is low probability. So any one of these makes it low probability, and then if you have two of the three, it's lower probability. If you have three of three, it's really low probability that the purge and revert is going to happen, and you're just going to keep selling the top, and it's going to keep running higher, or buying the low, and it's going to keep running lower. So I'll leave these here. You guys can write that down. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. You just have to practice with it. So let me know if you guys have any questions.